What do you think this means for the Nets and Sixers in the short term and long run? What do you got for me?
Well, they got him under contract. So if New York, and you're more familiar with that market and the politics of that market than I am, if New York ends up easing its vaccine mandate and Kyrie Irving is able to play full time, well, I got another one for you. I got another joke for you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why everybody was tripping about Kyrie Irving only playing half the games when James Harden only played half the court.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, he did his own rim shot there in his house. I like it.
Anyway, that was so corny, but that's on brand for me. No, if they get all of their guys back plus Seth Curry, like I said, I think Simmons is the better fit. He's still an elite defender, an incredible passer, amazing in transition. And if he's right mentally, I think, especially in the half court, and this has been said by a lot, if he could just accept his role, by a lot of people, if he could accept his role and use that passing ability to make that offense flow more in line with what Kevin Durant and Steve Nash wanted. I think I read where James Harden philosophically wanted a more ISO-heavy attack, whereas, Nash and Durant want to play more like the Warriors. Well, here's your Draymond Green. Not that he's as good as Draymond Green.
No, I know what you're saying. No, it's just interesting, just in terms of strategy. So what about the Sixers? That does Harden not have enough time to get in, and that maybe next year's a year for it, or? I'm just hoping the basketball gods see fit to make this a 3-6 first-round matchup, 4-5 or whatever. I mean, that would just be dynamite.
I hope they both play, was it March 10th? I hope they can both play by then.
I mean, March 10th, I don't know. Do you send Simmons into Philadelphia? Is that what you do? I mean...
Well, if you want the 3-6, you got to get it out of the way at some point.
No, that's going to happen. I mean, the playoffs, he can't sit out or have management or whatever,
I think you rip that Band-Aid off. I mean, that's because... Wherever he goes, if he goes to Brooklyn, I know Brooklyn's fan base isn't what Philly's is, and he doesn't have the history in Brooklyn. But if he struggles in Brooklyn, you're gonna hear boos there too.
Oh, of course.
Now he's probably gonna hear boos at every arena he plays at, because even though he was a Philadelphia 76er, that became a national story. And you'd be hard pressed to find an NBA fan that did not have an opinion about Ben Simmons, Sixer fan or not.
Right.
So. But in terms of what was your question about
the Sixers' long run this year?
So
I mean,
what do you think? With Harden, so he misses the deadline conveniently to opt in for next year. Harden is that guy, either that woman or man, whichever, that has a whole lot of relationships, like a serial monogamous. He's like, yo, why you have no trouble getting a boyfriend, but why have you run through so many? Or that person whose resume has a long list of employment. It's like, why you can't keep a job? You can get a job, but you can't keep a job. Harden has run through every superstar in the NBA at this point that he could realistically do it with. So unless and until it does work with Joel Embiid, I'm skeptical that it will, because for some reason it has not worked with Harden and another superstar. Embiid is also not just a roll to the rim. He's not going to take a back seat. He's not a take a back seat kind of big man. He is if they run the pick and roll game, he's probably more likely to pop than he is to roll. So it'll be interesting to see how they gel in a short period of time. And in that short period of time, let's say they don't win it. Let's say they don't win a championship this year. Is Harden going to have a wandering eye again? Does he just want to be a free agent and pick his team independent of trade machinations and ownership input and general manager? Does he want to be wooed? What's important to him? Because what I still believe, if had he given it time, and I get the Kyrie thing frustrated him. He's not alone in that. But you mean to tell me a healthy Kevin Durant and a healthy James Harden could not have contended in the Eastern Conference without Kyrie Irving? I still believe they could have.
Well, I said yesterday, if he doesn't win with Philadelphia, or it doesn't work with Philadelphia for Harden, then he becomes Westbrook. That's what he becomes.
Even if it does work, does he get the usual championship credit?
Oh, I think he would. I think he would.
Do the way he got here?
Oh, I think he would. I think he would be lionized in Philadelphia forevermore if he brings the Sixers a championship, or he's part of a Sixers championship, even if he's just there as a complimentary piece to an out of his gourd Embiid. I think he would. I do.
Listen, I mean, a ring is a ring. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
And if he's hungry and his Marissa Tomei biological clock is doing this, is ticking.
Stopping, yeah.
Then okay, I get that. And however he gets it, he gets it. And there's no shame in being a number two, a clear-cut number two, to arguably the best big man, if not one of the best players in the NBA. There's no shame in that, whatsoever. There's no shame in being no disrespect to the Big O, but there's no shame in being Oscar to Embiid's Kareem, if you will. Oscar's also one of the greatest players of all time, right? But it was Lou Alcindor. So regardless, it's a ring. Will he be lionized in Philly? Yeah, because they're championship stars. But James Harden, the MVP, being so nomadic and such a hired gun,
right,
and the way he forced his way out of Philadelphia, the way he's forced his way out of the Nets, you know, I question as to whether or not he'll be viewed in the same vein as most players superstar players who win championships. Now, the other side of that coin is what he talked about yesterday. Maybe this is just somebody, you know, a player taking the player empowerment era that we're in to a whole nother level, and just it hasn't found the right spot. But if you got to go through so much to find the right spot and so many people to find the right spot, like even if you count the iterations of the Rockets when he was there, both in terms of supporting cast, head coach, and now it didn't work or he didn't want to see it through, you know, with the Nets a year later. Now he is with the Sixers. I feel like it's already a referendum on him, and I don't know if that championship makes me look at him any differently. Brilliant individual player, brilliant scorer, brilliant passer, you know, exceptional talent, one of the best scorers we've ever seen. But I think he's shown that he's that proverbial you can't win with him as your best player. Thankfully, they got Joel Embiid for that, so we'll see how they fit together.
Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.